This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social in association with Betfred, and I'm delighted to be joined by heavyweight contender Otto Wallin over Zoom. Otto, first and foremost, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, it's always a pleasure, Otto. And of course, I appreciate you giving up some time after what I imagine's been a pretty frantic 48 hours or so. Yeah, but exciting news for yourself. Obviously, finally getting a big fight over the line back versus Dillian Whyte. First and foremost, an obvious question: where did this fight come from? How long were you in negotiations for?
Not very long, to be honest. I think we got the offer like a week ago. Friday, maybe, something like that. Thursday, Friday. And I was actually in negotiation with fight against Luis Ortiz on Showtime. I had said yes to that fight. And in the end, for some reason, didn't come off. I don't know what happened, but something tells me that if a fighter really wants a fight, you make it happen. And so that tells me he didn't really want it. I said yes, I was ready for November. But then in the middle of all that, we got this offer to fight Dillian Whyte. So it worked out perfectly. I was preparing for Ortiz, but now it's Dillian Whyte. And, I'm happy to get this shot, the WBC interim title, and to fight in England. I think it's going to be great.
Otto, it certainly came out of the blue for most people, because with Dillian, I think people were expecting the Chris Arreola fight to take place for him. How much of a surprise was it for you to have received an offer to face Dillian?
I wasn't that surprised, to be honest. I feel like for some reason I felt that at some point we're gonna fight, and now it's happening. I thought that he was gonna fight Arreola or Jermaine Franklin. They were talking about. I don't know what happened there, but we got the call and we took it.
We've done numerous interviews over the past 12 months or so, Otto, and you've been insistent. You wanted another big fight. You wanted to test yourself against the best. How excited are you now to face somebody like Dillian, who is certainly just beneath that world level now himself?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I've been training since my last fight in February, so it's been a long time. 7 months or so, and it's not that fun to just train all the time. You don't hear anything. Like, I was expected the first fight in July. That didn't come off. It got pushed back. And then this and that. And now, finally, I get a fight. And, I've been training. So I'm happy that I've been training. And it's not like I have to start everything now. But I'm already in good shape and just ready to, get the right sparring and be ready for the fight.
This fight, Otto, who do you feel there's more pressure on heading into it then come October 30th? It's about 6 weeks away now. Do you feel like it's on you because you've waited for another big chance, or is it on Dillian because of obviously the most recent Povetkin loss and knowing how close he was to a crack at world honors?
No, I think he probably has more pressure than I do. He's fighting at home in England, and he's been, mandatory for a long time. And I'm sure he hopes that fight will come off soon. So I think this is a perfect fight for me. I think he's a good fighter, good opponent, but I'm ready for it. I showed with Fury what I can do, and everybody was laughing at me before that fight, but now after, they know I'm the real deal. I had a couple of good fights after, and now I'm ready for another big fight.
I mean, Otto, Tyson produced a list of names he wanted to face, and he said if he beats Deontay, he wanted to face Dillian in December. I mean, if you beat Dillian, would you be open to facing Tyson if a rematch was to be put to you?
Yeah, of course. That's one of the fights I want. I want to be a world champion. So that's what I want. But the question is, does he want it? I'm not so sure.
Just obviously, before we do kind of move on, just to stick with the Dillian fight, what should the fans expect when the pair of you are in the ring?
I think from my side, they can expect a smart fighter, and they're going to see that, what I was doing in Fury fight wasn't a fluke, and it's going to be a good fight. And I've improved since then also. So they can expect a real good fighter, smart fighter.
And obviously, we've got fans back. You're boxing in England, as you've said. How much are you looking forward to that and the experience of boxing over here in what is a huge fight, as you say?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I've never been to the O2. I've been to Sheffield and watched fight one time, and that was electric. So everybody's telling me the O2 is a great arena, and the UK fans are really good. So I'm happy about that. I think more people knows about me now since I fought Fury, and I think that's a good thing. Sweden is not too far from the UK, so there'll be some Swedish people, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Otto, depending on how big of a football fan you are, I'm a West Brom fan, and Jonas Olsson used to be one of our best centre halves a few years ago. But yeah, I'm sure he's still knocking about, so you never know, you might see him. But just to kind of get your thoughts on some other boxing talk, Otto, there's obviously a lot of heavyweight fights coming up. Just wanted to get your take. Anthony Joshua, Alexander-Usyk next weekend. What's your thoughts? What do you think will happen in that one?
I think that would be a good fight. I think that Joshua is going to have to work for it, but eventually I think that Joshua might stop Usyk late or win a decision.
I've said this to a few people and get your thoughts as well. Obviously, we know how brilliant of a technician Alexander is. Those first 3 or 4 rounds, how important is it for Anthony to kind of maybe pressure Alexander a little bit and not to allow him to get into a rhythm during those initial rounds?
Yeah, that would be important because he's a really good boxer, and you don't want him to get comfortable. And Joshua is the bigger guy, so he should use his size and his weight and power to slow him down a little bit and getting uncomfortable.
And that man who you said you wanted a rematch with earlier on, Tyson Fury, he obviously fights 2 weeks after that on October 9th. Once again, your take on his trilogy bout with Deontay Wilder?
I think that Fury is going to beat him. He might, I don't know that he's going to knock him out again, but I think at least a decision. I think that Wilder, a lot of stuff been going on with him, and I'm not sure where he's at, but I'm sure he's hungry. He wants to win. Can he do it? We'll see. I think he has to let his hands go and not just load up with one punch, because Fury has good defense and that just plays into his favor.
And then another big heavyweight fight, which is announced for December 18th. Derek Chisora and Joseph Parker will rematch. Just again, your take on it. What do you think will happen this time around when them pair collide again?
Should be a good fight, I think. I think that Chisora is always entertaining. Parker is a good fighter also. So could be a good fight. Feel like it could go either way.
I mean, Otto, mentioning all of these names here now, a win for you against Dillian, the world's your oyster, isn't it? You could potentially be in the ring with any of those guys after this.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I will be the WBC interim champion, and that's a big title, and should put me in line for Fury or who's champion.
Just a final thing before I let you go, Otto. Obviously, last weekend rather, we saw Evander Holyfield lose in a first round stoppage defeat. I just wanted to get your take on seeing a legend of the sport return and to lose in such sad circumstances.
I'm really conflicted with that. I feel like he's a man; he can make his own decisions. But losing against that guy at 58 years old, he didn't look like himself and not the Holyfield that we know. And I mean, it was a little tough, to be honest. I hope that, the commissions can make the right decisions here and, take care of these fighters, because sometimes you have to save the fighter from himself.
Right, Otto, just a final thing from yourself then, ahead of your bout with Dillian Whyte on October 30th, a message from you to, whether it be Dillian, to everyone who's going to tune in here in the UK, in Sweden, the US. What are you going to do on October 30th? How will you be successful?
I'm going to show up, be in great shape, and I'm going to put on a clinic and I'm really show that Dillian Whyte has a lot of holes in his game, and I'm a smart fighter, and I'm going to show everybody what happened with Fury wasn't a fluke, and I'm ready to win this time, and I'm going to do it in style.
Otto, it's been a pleasure to catch up with you. I'll see you over here in the UK when you travel. Thank you for your time tonight, and thank you for speaking to Boxing Social.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
You